Another story that I think you've sort of been one of the 2 or 3 journalists to cover in the entire country is the use of fetal cells in the COVID vaccines. And it's not all the vaccines, but it is some of the vaccines. And nobody's really talking about the ethical and moral and religious freedom implications surrounding the vaccines. Now, Doug Ford has come out and said that vaccines aren't going to be mandatory. However, health officials have said, oh, they're not going to be mandatory, but there's this big long list of things that you can't do in a free society now if you don't take the vaccine. So it's that coercion you're talking about. And it's completely, again, throwing out the whole human rights side of the debate. For me, as a Catholic, I'm not taking a vaccine with fetal stem cells. I'm just not. Yeah. But if I lived in Ontario, well, that might mean that I can't get my driver's license renewed, or maybe I can't go to the emergency room. So it's, state force. And for a lot of people, their choices may be, do I violate my religious freedom and thus compromise my soul, which is, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what I think or you think, it matters what the religious person thinks. So do I compromise my soul, or do I go to the emergency room and deal with this life-threatening injury? That could be the position that a lot of people are put in, and you're really the only one talking about that.
Yeah, and school, being able to send your children to school, that will be a big thing to address if and when the COVID vaccine becomes mandated. Again, the mandate, it won't be mandatory, yet will kind of force your hand, because if you want your kids to go to school or you want to go on a trip one day, well, then here's your COVID pass. I think that's Bill Gates' technology to show your proof of vaccination. I mean, the technology is all there. So if 2020 and 2021 continues to go in the way that all of these conspiracy theorists, as they like to refer to them as they were speculating the beginning of the pandemic, if it continues on this path, I mean, this is shaping up to be conspiracy fact, not conspiracy theory. So yeah, the vaccine thing, again, I think that some of these tactics are just that stepping stone. Right now, you have people in the workforce being force tested for COVID-19, and there's a lot of speculation and questions around how reliable and accurate that test even is. It's very invasive, and healthy working men who are not symptomatic for any illness are being forced to take this test or threatened with job loss right before Christmas. So what are you going to choose? And so where do we draw that line? Do we stop at the vaccine? Does it end there? It didn't stop at the masks. It's not stopping at the testing. So why won't we just keep going?
That's a great point. For me, the longer this goes on, the further we are from the baseline of what actual normal is. People are always talking about new normal, and I hope that in 2021 we never hear that word again, but I think it is with us forever. But people are forgetting we didn't used to have to stand 6 feet apart and stand on these stupid arrows on the floor. And we weren't looking to see if someone's judging us if we're not wearing a mask in the grocery store, or if we're going the wrong way down the coffee aisle, or, if you took off your mask by touching the elastics and not pulling it off your face because people are going to judge you. And little kids who are wearing masks for their first day of kindergarten, this is all they know about school. Yeah. I'm concerned about how much further we get away from what normal used to be. I'm worried people are going to forget. And there's a whole bunch of little people who don't even know.
They already forget. It's been long enough that if you're young enough as a child, you forget. My almost 3-year-old, I mean, we went to a play place last week, and it was as though it was his first time ever being at a play place, because it's been 8-9 months since he was last at an indoor play place. And it was joyous. Don't get me wrong. I loved the whole experience, but seeing how excited he was and knowing that he's been to these places before, it definitely struck a chord.
If you'd like to get access to my show, as well as other great TV style shows too, like Ezra's Nightly Ezra Levant Show, and David Menzies' Friday night show, Rebel Roundup, just go to rebelnews.com/subscribe. That's rebelnews.com/subscribe.